I'm Pastor Grace, and it's good to see you again today. Thank you all so much for watching my channel. Thank you for the likes and the shares. Thank you particularly for the subscriptions. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do that quickly. I will really appreciate that. All right, on my testimonies today, the last video on my testimony was titled Blessed to be a Blessing. If you haven't seen it, please check it quickly, and I assure you that you will be blessed. You know, the parable of the rich fool comes to mind every time we talk about blessed to be a blessing. You know, the rich fool in the Bible that Jesus talked about, the man was so rich, his farm yielded a lot on that particular harvest, and what came to his mind was to store up everything in his barn. The Bible said he even took down the barn and created more room, and then he said to his soul, "My soul, relax. You have worked so much. It's time for you to enjoy the works of your hands, the fruit of your labor." And then the Bible said that the Lord said to him, "You fool, tonight your soul, I require your soul of you." And then he died and left all those wealth for others to enjoy. That is what happens to us when we are blessed and refuse to share with others. When God blesses us, he wants us to share with others. So don't keep your blessings to yourself. Share with others. If you are opportune to be a blessing, please do it gladly as unto the Lord. I won't say much. If you want to hear much, watch the last video. If you haven't seen it, please go and see it quickly. You will be blessed by it. All right. So I'll continue for that today. And today, I'm just going to talk about my life in College of Education. So when I came back from the UK, and after all the long talk, and was able to get my money back from my madam, then the first thing I did was to give a vow, to make a vow unto the Lord. And after that, I went back to my school. Remember when I went to College of Education, I entered through PolyJam, and I was the only student that was admitted into my department through direct entry through PolyJam. Before then, every English French student comes through prelim. Prelim is 1 year study that qualifies you to study NC in College of Education then. So you have a 1 year of study that prepares you to be able to enter. But I didn't do that. And that was where all the basics in French were taught. So as I came in as a fresh student, a fresh student to join the others, about 32 others that came from prelim, we were about 33, I think, if I'm right, if I remember correctly. My HOD was not very confident that I'll be able to make it. So in short, she even told me that she will advise me to go for other courses because a lot has been done during the prelim, which are the basics that would have helped me to be able to learn French language. And without those basics, she said there's no way I'll be able to make it in that department. She will advise me to go to other departments. I assured her that I can meet up and that I will do all that it takes to work hard and meet up. She wasn't so confident. But in the end, after my first semester, when the result came out, she was the first to send for me before they even posted it on the wall for people to see. She sent for me and said, wow, that she's so impressed at my result. How did I do it? That she was shocked. She was waiting to see my result so that she can tell me, you see, I told you. And then suddenly she saw something that surprised her, that my performance was one of the best in the department. Wow, she was impressed. And that was just God. What I did was I went back to those that came through prelim, took their books, photocopied it, and started studying their books. It wasn't easy for me for a language that I was not used to, because the only time I actually did French language was in my junior secondary school back then in Baptist High School. And then it wasn't much because, what we used then was this book again, France Afrique. That was the book we used. And, Bonjour Color, Bonjour Orderly, Orovam Color, like those. Yeah, just a few. There were just few things I was able to learn from the GSS, although it was interesting. And then the songs too and all that. So my background wasn't really too strong in French. And so she didn't really think I'll be able to cope. But when she saw my first semester results, oh God, she was impressed. Even I was so impressed and proud of myself. To God be the glory. So by the time we did the second semester, and I had to travel before school resumed, before I could even see the results, my brother went to school to see the result and to tell them not to expect me back in school because I traveled out. And then, I haven't seen a very good result for my first semester, and then my second semester was also very good. Very good. And then they felt bad that a student that they were looking up to make the department proud was suddenly pulled out, or in the name of she traveled abroad. They were like, are you sure you wouldn't do a leave of absence for her, so that when she comes back anytime she can still meet up? As if they knew what was going to happen, as if they knew based on their experience as elders or something. I don't know. So they advised my brother to do that for me, so that whenever I come back, I will not completely lose the admission. And that was what my elder brother did for me. Just said, okay, no problem. He did it, not even thinking that I would really need it. And that was where God saved me. So by the time I came back and I've cleared my vow in the church, I went to the school, and with that thing my brother did for me, I was able to continue from where I stopped, which is now year 2. By now, my people that we started together, they have graduated, And then what I did was I paid for the first 2 years I was not around, as in the school fees. That's what you normally do when you do that kind of leave of absence. Pay for the first 2 years school fees. I paid for the very year I'm going to start year 2 now. That was 3 years school fees I paid from my money. And then the remaining of the money, I gave it to my father, because while I was in senior secondary, my father had decided to work on his land, build something. There wasn't much to build the full house, so he just built a part of it, with the hope that instead of paying rent, we'll be using the rent money to develop the remaining part gradually and complete the house. So we moved into the house while I was in senior secondary at Ewotuban. We're moving from there to BHS for my secondary school. So at this time when I came back, unfortunately, I had not been able to even do anything. The house was still where he left it. So I gave him what was left on me to work on the house. So I entered school, and then the struggle continued. So back in school, from my year 1, I joined in 9th. I joined 9th, and I was serving in the choir. I was sitting there one day, and somebody was teaching the Bible study, and the Spirit was convincing me that you can do better. This scripture was coming alive in me, and I discovered that the person that was preaching at that moment, teaching at that moment, wasn't really digging it deep the way I was getting it in my spirit man. So, and then I was like, the Spirit said, instead of sitting down idle, and you know all these things, and why don't you join this unit and, help out? I said, okay. And then I joined the Bible study unit from my first year. So by the time I came back, my set was already gone. I was in the choir. I went back to my units with a set that was on ground. And I served in those 2 units, the choir and the Bible study units. So my 200 level was okay, and then we went for teaching practice, which I did at Emotan College. Yeah, Emotan College. There I did my teaching practice. The first teaching practice I did, yes, it was at Emotan College. And then the final year, which is the 3rd year. In my final year, the 3rd year, I emerged as the Bible study secretary of my fellowship, 9th. I had a lot of friends there. Being an ESCO in 9th was a glorious experience. We had about 12 sisters in the executive. And these 12 sisters, we have to stay together as ESCOs. And as ESCOs in 9th, you can't go home as often as you would have gone as somebody that is not an ESCO, because you are now a leader and you have to care for others. So you have to always be on ground. Even during holidays, you can't travel. There are some people that cannot travel. There are some people that can travel. So there was a lot of work on our hand as leaders, and the experience was a good training ground for me as leader in the church. So we had 12 sisters, and these 12 sisters, we had to stay together. It was an awesome experience. I still have the pictures and everything. So staying with sisters together in the room was glorious. So I can't even begin to talk about everything that we experienced. Okay, let me just mention some of them. I remember I had one of us then that doesn't like cooking, you understand? She doesn't like cooking. So every time I want to eat, that's when she will feel like, I feel like taking something hot. And then one day our sisters leader said to her, if you feel like taking something else, go and take Tom Tom. Tom Tom is kind of sweet. So at first, there's love in sharing. Everybody will share with her. But one day we discussed among us. We said, as sisters, we are not helping this young lady. She's going to be a mother tomorrow. Is this how she will take care of her own? She can't cook. She was so lazy with cooking. She has food stuff. She will just stuff them in her cupboard and not cook. And when she even manages to cook, to warm it becomes a problem. The whole room will smell until we bring out the cupboard and discover that it's this sister's soup that is smelling. I'm sure if she hears the story, that she will laugh a lot if she remembers everything. And then so some of us decided that we are spoiling this sister, and the only way we can help her is to stop giving her food every time she asks for it. So no, when we talk about love, giving to people, sometimes when you don't give, you help them, especially in cases like this. We have to teach her to learn to cook as a lady. So every time she comes and wants to eat with us, we tell her, no, you have to go and cook. No, you have to go and cook. And then gradually she started building up the attitude of the cooking skill. And then one day we were coming from the class, we saw that she cooked for all of us. She cooked, and this time around she wasn't waiting for us to cook for her to eat. She cooked before we came, and then we not had to eat for her for the first time. It was like, what is happening? I don't even want to call her name now, but my fellow sisters, excuse them, we understand what I'm talking about if they get to see this video. We are like, wow, you mean you cooked? You mean you cook? And then we ate different way. You know how to cook, so why are you so lazy about cooking? You need to wake up. And then we thought we had helped her, helping her to learn how to cook. And another wonderful experience that I had before I even entered leadership in 9FEST, when we are doing the election for the positions, what they do is they'll call you together. The leader that is about to go, that's the person that you're going to succeed. We appoint somebody that he or she wants to take over her, and it will be or take over from him or her. It will be somebody from that same unit. All right, so the brother that handed over to me was a brother that handed over to me as Bible study secretary. He had picked me, and then when you are picked, they will let you know when the interview is going to be. So there's an interview where external bodies of 9FEST will come in to interview you and see whether you are fit enough to serve as a leader. And then I remember there was one particular sister that all of us agreed that when we are handing over, there's no one who can hand over to this sister. And because there were some issues about her that made it obvious that she would not be able to serve as a leader, because as a leader, so much sacrifice is required of you. And then in 9FEST, we do something like a family meeting. A family meeting is a meeting where the members will have to tell you how you are performing as a leader. They'll tell you where they think you are doing well and where they think you need to improve on. It's a very funny one. We ask them to write whatever they want to write on paper. They will put it in a basket, and then the secretary will read it out to everybody. And then you hear somebody say, so person, so leader, look at what you do, and look at what you did, look at what you did not do, up to greeting. That's every time we greet the sister, she just waves at us. Well, can't she open her mouth to reply instead of waving back, So that, I remember somebody said that about me, that I'm fond of waving to greet. And when they greet, I just wave them back and smile. Now, instead of waving, why don't I just open my mouth and repeat the greeting? And then, I just came back from the UK, and I didn't think that shouting a greeting from so far like we do in Nigeria was a normal thing. So I can wave and greet you from afar without having to open my mouth and shout, good morning. And then somebody mentioned that, why, instead of waving and smiling at us, why don't you just say it out, say the greeting out? So that is how our family meeting can get so tough. And then you as a leader, you cannot quarrel and say, why would you say that about me? You will just smile and say, okay, I'll work on that, I'll change, I'll improve on that. Family meeting, wonderful experience. People get to evaluate you. Then you get to know whether you're really doing well in the position, your position as a leader. Awesome experience. And then when we're going to hand over, we decided that we're not going to give this sister a position because of some of the experience that she was going through that made her, to our best of knowledge, unfit for the kind of work that we know we will do as leaders in IFES. So we all agreed on that for our reason that I don't even want to go into now. Although it wasn't really our fault, it was like a psychological problem that comes up every now and then. So we're scared that what if it comes up and then members get to enter the hostel where the mamas are, and then, because that's what they call us, the mama in the fellowship. So, and then they meet her in that condition, it will just kill their faith and all that. So because of that, we said, well, she's a wonderful sister. For that reason, we will not give her position. She can continue serving in her various units, and be a blessing. Position, what people don't know, what some people don't know, is that it's not about your position. It's about your services to God. You don't need position to serve God. In short, those of us that even have position are even in a stronger, are even under stronger judgment than those that are not in position. So don't fight to get position. Just serve God wherever you are. If God deems it fit to give you a position, you cannot escape it. But if he has not called you to have a position, don't fight for it. And some people in church want to have positions. Some people leave church because they didn't give them position. That is not the character of Christ. You should even be happy when you're not a leader, because leadership is very tasking. In short, if you really know what it takes to be a leader, you will not even want to be a leader. So those that are fighting for leadership is because they don't really know what it means to be a leader, and it's because they cannot really do what leaders do. So they fight for it, and at the end of the day, they mess up. So in the church, this should not be. You should be happy when you're not. The Bible says, do not be many teachers. That's what the Bible says. It says, because your own judgment will be higher. So we have decided not to give our position, and suddenly during the interview, because the interview is like the way I first do their interview is tight, as in very tight. In the middle of the night, some people are sleeping. They will take you from one room to another room. You will never know where you are going to or where you are. It's like when they're initiating people into court, you don't understand. It wasn't really a court anyway, but it was that scary, and that's you'll be very nervous because you don't know where you are going to meet, because you're meeting with external bodies. So it's not the regular faces you'll be seeing in fellowship. So the regular faces is just to appoint you, but you finally meet face to face with the external 9-1 escorts outside, and then they will talk with you as if they never knew you. You understand? They dig deep into everything, every details, because they want to be sure that you won't take that position and mess up. And so that was what happened. We had interviews, and then suddenly one of us just mentioned the person's name. We that want to hand over will be in the meeting. The external bodies will be in the meeting. And then one of us just mentioned the person's name, and we were like, everybody was like, we're looking at each other. I thought we all agreed that this sister cannot serve as a leader. So why is this brother mentioning her name now as his successor? We're all looking at each other, and everybody was like, and I've always been the outspoken type. And while we were waiting for first to talk, nobody seemed as if nobody wanted to. I just came up, I said, well, I'm surprised to see this name come up. And then the external body was like, why are you surprised? Well, why did you say that? I said, because we all agreed that this sister will not serve as an escort because of this, that. And they were like, they now asked the others, is it true that you all agreed that this sister will not serve? They said, yes. Okay, so what was the particular reason? We all opened up and told them, they said, no, for that reason, she cannot really serve. So how come somebody is bringing up the name now? We said that's why we are surprised. That's why I couldn't even I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I had to just talk because I'm really surprised. And then the name of her was scrapped. Her name was scrapped, and it was war. It was war when her name was scrapped. Because she got to hear about it, that I was the one that brought it up, that I thought we said we'll not give this sister position. And then she started trying to raise troubles with me. Well, we overcame that. We see a lot of that even up to these days, of people wanting to be a leader even when they know they cannot serve as a leader. Leadership is of God and not of man. So let's be careful as believers when it comes to leadership. So that's that. So we served as escorts in NIFES, and it was glorious, it was wonderful. It was even very awesome living together with sisters. You know what it means to live together with sisters? For me, it was a glorious experience because it was an opportunity to have sisters that I never had. The blood sisters I never had. I never had them. We were 12 in one. We occupied 2 rooms. All the escorts have to stay together so that every dirty linen will be washed indoors. Members will not know, because outside members see you as God. So when you wash your dirty linen before them, it's going to be somehow. So because of that one, we don't allow escorts to stay with other members of the fellowship or other people that are not members. So what we do is, in the hostel, we separate 2 rooms for the escorts, 2 for the brothers in the brothers hostel, 2 for the sisters in the sisters hostel. And as an escort in NIFES, you must stay in the hostel. No off camp. You cannot stay off camp. You have to be in the hostel. So when members have problems, they can come to you and they can assess you easily, and so you can be in fellowship easily. So this time around, I didn't have stress with coping with my education and the work of an escort, because even from church, you know, I've overcome that battle. So my grades were all good all through, and serving as an escort was challenging but very interesting, and I thank God for that. I really enjoyed serving with NIFES, and I really learned a lot of things that are helping me today. I can't even begin to mention all of them, but NIFES, wow. If you are in school as an undergraduate, I encourage you to fellowship with NIFES, because it's a non-denominational body. It doesn't have a church per se, you understand? It's non-denominational. It's for students. It's for students, for all. It's a federation of Nigerian students. So it's very important you grow. I grew in NIFES. I served, and I know that it pays to serve the Lord, because everything that I've been through in life today and where I am today, I know part of that experience has helped me. So NIFES, thumbs up. Continue to do the good works, and God will continue to strengthen you all. All right, so I'll stop here for today. When we meet again, I'll tell you the final stage of my College of Education and the experience, how I left the school. And it has something to do with my love life. For the first time, my love life will start there. So you'll get to hear about it in the next video. So stay put so you get to hear it. Subscribe if you haven't, so you see the video when it's posted. So till I see you again, keep serving the Lord. Don't fight over leadership positions. Just wait for God to choose you himself, and then you will be glad that God picked you himself. It's a lot of work, so be ready for it. If you're in leadership, sit up. Know that it's not for you to shine and for everybody to respect you. There is work to be done. Do that work, and then you will get rewards for it. Because whenever you do the work of God diligently, God pays you big. So till I see you again, for my testimony, bye.